Hi everybody, welcome to MSTM 4025. This is a course in Applied Statistics. My name is Mary Pippi and I'll be your instructor for the term. I'm an instructor here with the Marine Institute, and I have been with the Marine Institute now for 30 years this year, and I have been teaching statistics for a pretty long time. I first instructed this course in an online environment last fall, and believe me, it was a learning experience for both me and the students, but we got through it. So this will be my second time around, and hopefully it'll go a little smoother this coming semester. This course has a lot of content, and we're going to be moving through the material at a pretty steady pace. The content, like any math type course, is sequential, and each chapter builds on previous material, so it's essential that you keep to the course schedule. In addition to the descriptive and inferential statistics that we are going to be covering in this course, we're also going to be learning to use Minitab, which is a statistical software package that's used in many universities and many workplaces. To aid you in this, I have created a fairly large number of instructional videos which are posted in the content section of our course. And I'll take you through that now shortly. My contact information is shown under the instructor bio, and of course you can email me through the course email. Please don't hesitate to contact me should you have questions. I would also hope that you help each other out. For this reason, I've created a number of discussion folders that in which you can post questions. I'll try to respond in a timely manner. But if you happen to know the answer to a question and can help a fellow student out, please don't hesitate to wade in. While we are skimming the surface of the field of statistics, I do hope you will come away with a few skills you can use in other courses you might do, or perhaps even in your workplace. So now I'm just going to have a look at our course homepage. Of course, we've got course content like you're going to see in any course. And if I click on this, we're going to see here there's a tab for course information and a number of other tabs that you would normally see. So first of all, let's go into course information. There's going to be, this video that I'm creating is going to be here under Introduction to MSTM, so you might want to have a look at that. There's a blurb here on my instructor profile. There's the course syllabus, some startup instructions. Let's have a look at this. So for this course, it is absolutely essential that you get access to the textbook. The textbook is, you can buy it from the bookstore, and as the note down here says, it's $117. You can get it through the Munn bookstore, and for that $117, you get an access code which allows you access to something that Pearson calls My Stat Lab, which we will be using in the course, and you'll get access to the e-text as well as a loose leaf. You'll get the textbook in a 3-hole punch loose leaf thing that you can stick in a binder. Hold on. Okay, you're also going to need to purchase access to the software, which is called Minitab 17. And there's a link here on the hub.com. You can get a Minitab access for a 6-month period for about $30 US. Make sure you get Minitab 17. There's a newer one out, Minitab 18, but I'm going to be using the 17. And as your note down here says, both PC and Mac versions are available. Alright, so let's look at some other things that are here under our course information. The course syllabus is here, and it just gives us some of the major topics that we're going to be covering, and a little blurb here on the evaluation scheme. So we're going to be doing weekly self-tests, mostly weekly. There's 10 of them anyway, and they're done through the Pearson My Stat Lab, which is why you absolutely have to have the textbook, because you need to have access to the Pearson website. There's going to be two-term tests worth 30%. The first one of which, by the way, is going to be run through My Stat Lab, and that's why you need to be doing these weekly self-tests. These self-tests, you can go back and do them over and over again. So conceivably, you could get 10 out of 10 on those weekly self-tests. The reason you're doing them is more or less to prepare you for your first term test, which is worth 15%. The types of questions you're going to see on the weekly self-tests are going to be fairly similar to what you're going to get on your term test. So I would strongly encourage you to do those weekly self-tests, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in trouble when you come to do the first term test. There are 7 assignments, and they're worth 20%. It is critical that you work through the assignments, because when we get into the second term test and the final exam, those evaluation techniques, or sorry, the questions that are used on your term assignments are going to be fairly similar to what you're going to see on the second term test and on the final exam. So if you don't do the work prior to these evaluations, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble in this course. All right, what else have we got here? Scrolling through, back here. So the weekly self-test, there's a little blurb here, tells you all about them. It says here the self-tests have due date, but you can return to them at any time, which is true. The assignments are to be completed using MS Word. I will have set up drop boxes for all of the assignments, and they're going to get submitted through the Dropbox. I'm going to be marking these electronically. I don't want them in PDF form, because if you screw something up and I got to show you how to do something in Minitab, I have to be able to copy and paste graphs and that sort of thing from Minitab into your document, and that's not easily done in a PDF. So make sure it's in a Word format. Your term tests, as it says here, term test 1 will operate the same as your self-tests, and term test 2 will be similar to the format of the assignments. And as your note here says, I'm going to be setting up drop boxes for term test number 2 as we get closer to the date, and there'll be more about your final exam later on. And your final exam, by the way, is worth 40%. Alright, so what else have we got here? Startup instructions I've already talked about. There's a little blurb here from Pearson as to how you sign on to their MyStatLab and set up with your ebook and all of that stuff. And when you do that, you're basically, for you, you're going to see, you won't see this instructor's tool, but you will see the MyStatLab all assignments. So if I click on that, there are now your self-tests that are set up for you with the due dates that are showing here. All right, what else have we got here? I'm going to close some of these tabs. Whoops, where am I? All right, back into our course. Oh yes, last semester we ran into an issue where the bookstore didn't have enough textbooks. So Pearson does allow you to have a 14-day temporary access. And actually, this is not a bad idea. For those of you who may not be completely committed to doing this course, because there's a 2-week period here where you can drop the course without any financial ding on your bank account, you might want to go in and have a look at this for the first 14 days of the course. And if you decide you don't want to do this course, well then, so be it. All right. I have created a video here of how you work through those self-tests, so you can watch that thing. And our course timeline is here. So here we have starting off with our weeks, and I've kind of thrown weeks 1 and 2 together because they're really just 7 days basically of classes. So you have some dates here as to when your self-test should be completed. The chapters that are covered, and the page numbers. So that takes you through, yeah, and I've got nothing scheduled for midterm break. You'll be happy to know, I'm sure. So your self-tests are there. There are 10 of them. And then we go into another little tab here that shows us the 7 assignments, the material that's covered on those, and their due dates. And these will all be submitted through the Dropbox. And we have 2 term tests, so February 11th is the date of our first one. This one is going to be done through the Pearson MyStatLab in its entirety. And this one down here on March 18th will be done through a Dropbox, but we'll talk more about that later on. All right, and then as it says here, in addition to basic features of any course, such as your notes and stuff, there's a tab called Resources, and I'm going to have a look at that before I finish this. Some housekeeping issues here. You should read through this. And other than that, okay, some stuff is showing here on my page, but you're not going to see some of this stuff. All right, now, so we have our course information. You have your course notes, which are done as web pages. I basically have got things repeated 3 times here, to be honest. So here's the web page versions for our notes, and the reason they're up here as web pages is because if I click on chapter number 2, these are course notes, and at some point we are going to run into a video that shows you how to do something in Minitab. And you can access the videos directly through these web pages if that's the way you want to do it. Entirely up to yourself. Your notes are also up here as PDFs, where there are 2 slides to a page. This is a good way to print off your course notes. And I've got the course notes here as PowerPoint, which I may or may not take down. I'll probably just leave it here because what odds, really. So you've got your course notes in 3 different formats, basically. Now, under the Resources tab, there's a tab here for data files. And under this tab, we have data sets that come from your textbook. And if I click on this thing, we have, oops, come back here. Where am I? Data sets from my textbook. Yes, you've got chapter 2, oops, chapter 3, they're all open here anyway, chapter 4, whatever. You can pick a particular chapter. So we've got data sets from our textbook, but we also have here data sets that are used in our notes and in the assignments. And some of these may be coming from these chapters up here, and some of them may have nothing to do with your textbook whatsoever. All right, so these are all Minitab files, and you're going to need Minitab in order to open up these files. There's something else you're going to see here is, let's see, besides our data sets, we have Minitab videos. There is a whole raft of Minitab videos, or videos that explain stuff in your notes. They are all listed here alphabetically, and you're going to have to load more a number of times because there's a whole load of these. By the way, you can find all these videos on YouTube. If you go to MSTM 4025, there's a channel that I have there that have all of these videos in it. Okay, and the other thing that this course has under the Resources tab are the statistical tables. And there are a couple of tables that are in your textbook, but it's nice to have them here on a course website as well. And we'll be talking about these later, but anyway, they're basically PDF files of normal distribution and t-distribution that we're going to use later. Now, you may have seen in this video other stuff that's here on the page, but there's stuff that I have on this course which you cannot at the moment see. Alright, so I think that's pretty well enough yakking on for me. You want to explore this site, and like I say, it wouldn't hurt over the next 2 weeks to get into the, well, you should be into the MyStatLab anyway, and get a feel for whether or not this course is going to work for you. Stats is not for everybody, and for those of you who have issues with math, online environment may not be the best way to do this. But anyway, you have the opportunity. All the course content is here. You can have a look through the notes and the self-tests and see whether or not this is going to work for you and make your decision over the next 2 weeks. Anyway, take care and best of luck in the course.